2019 budget has scaled through its second reading at the House of Representatives.
Now, the budget size, as proposed by the executive arm of government, is totaled 8.83 trillion naira. So what does this mean? We are being joined by Okechukwu Unegbu, the past president, Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Good evening.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Now, we've seen the 2019 appropriation bill, which we know as the 2019 budget, scale through second reading, but let's take a flashback to the 2018 budget passing. It was initially presented on the 7th of November 2017 and wasn't implemented until 16th of May 2018. Should we expect another delay, because we see that has been the trend over the years?
The delay is already come there. The delay is already there because as at now, you say it's past the second reading. That's not the only thing that is going to happen. In budget, even though it's not cast in stone, they will need to look at the total thing, have somebody liaison between the National Assembly and the presidency, so as to avoid all the rigmarole of budgeting. Because for me, every year the budget has a problem. And if you look at this budget, when I looked at it, you discover that we should be talking of growth.
But this time around, one of the issues that the president has raised is that we find out that there are discrepancies here and there, because there was the mention of the Ministry of Education, National Budget Planning, and a whole lot of other ministries. This isn't the first time we are having a budget being done, so all of the issues of discrepancy should be minimized by now.
Unfortunately, it's not going to be so. Even looking at it at the moment, the various projections, for instance, we are depending on oil. Look at what they projected. The market today is not there at all, because the market of oil is spiraling up and going down, and the various international US, for instance, have discovered their shale oil, which affects the international market, all these other ones. So that's why I call one-sided growth, one direction growth, which is not very good for the economy.
But we have people who sit on the Economic Council, and I keep asking myself this question. There are people, the people who are on the Economic Council are supposed to be intelligent people who are supposed to be futuristic in their plannings, in their strategizing, but we still see ourselves making the same mistakes year in, year out, and we make excuses. It's either there's bulk passing and saying, oh, it's the National Assembly. The National Assembly will say, oh, it's the executive, it's the ministries, departments, it's the agencies. It makes us seem like we're not serious about what we're doing.
Precisely, we are not serious because those guys are political rather than economical, rather than economics. They are political because most of the time their decisions are based on looking at the back, who is going to make sure I don't lose what I'm getting here. And therefore they go political. Make sure that what they want to do satisfies their own personal aggrandizement without looking at the Nigeria as a very good economic set. So we are looking at it from what is in there for me. That has been the thing, because over the years, I've attended some of these sessions, and in fact, people talking from their own point of view. They are not looking at the system as a whole. They are looking at one-sided system. That's the thing I'm talking about. They are just political. They are not looking at the economics of growth in our country. So that's why you have all this rigmarole every year. And it will continue unless there's somebody who has the knack to say this shouldn't continue, and we have not had that person yet.
Let's look at the issue of, you talked about the GDP and you know, poverty rates, all of that. But let's talk about some of the information I have here. We hear that we have issues when it comes to nominal GDP. You would know that nominal GDP were the 22nd largest in terms of purchasing power instead of industrialization and manufacturing. Why do you think that is? You know, why are we more of receiving? We're always taking in. We import all sorts. In fact, I hear that we get most of the things that other countries say no to. They come in, they find their way into Nigeria. Why are we not looking in a direction where we should be producing and manufacturing to also send out instead of just receiving? We're sort of a dumping ground. From an economist standpoint, why do you think this is?
We have what it takes to do all those things, the capacity. But what you lack is the finance, right? I was talking, if you want to go and borrow now, you are talking about 25 to 30%. You cannot produce with that. You can only trade with that. A trader can only make profit with that kind of borrowing. But for somebody who is producing, that's what are you going to do? You have the cheapest labor in Nigeria, human labor, and very hardworking. They have their brain. But what we lack is the capital to do that. And where does the capital go? Because, like I said earlier, those who are in position get this money and divert it to non-productive issues. Consumption, consumption, consumption. And that's what I talked about. I still relate this to our population. We have a population that's growing, but a population that has, we talked about nominal GDP, that are not producing anything, but they are there looking for something to do. The template for running microfinance banks in Nigeria is very wrong. They are being run like conventional banks. And I've made this paper, sent it to National Assembly, told the CBN that, look, we can't continue running microfinance banks like a conventional bank. They are different in their setup. The people running them are not pure bankers. You get them, and that's an issue.
Now, Mr. Unegbu, I would also like to have your reaction as well, because when we're looking at the capital expenditure, we have it pegged at 2.031 trillion naira as well, being earmarked for the 2019 budget. But at the end of the day, we've noticed that when it comes to performance, we've always had constraints here and there, ranging from shortfalls in expected revenue and a whole lot more when it comes to procurement processes. How do we get things right with this?
This you earmark, but you never earmark in our budget. You say you are spending 2.03 trillion for capital budget. When are these monies released? That's one question. And who releases them? Where does it go to? I mean, whether you like it or not, our problem has been those who are running these institutions are not sincere in making sure that we survive. And that's what I was saying. A few people, inclusive growth is the best rather than one-sided growth. Now, because those people who are running it are not sincere in making sure this money gets to those who will use it for the benefit of what you want to achieve. Capital budget, how many? In fact, it's even small for a country that has...
So even our recurrent expenditure, which is at 4.04 trillion
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. And I tell you, I keep telling people that until we start solving the problem of rigidities in the economy, we cannot grow.
Talking about rigidities now, we should also face the reality that at the end of the day, we are having cuts coming from OPEC, and we are pegging a benchmark of $60 per barrel for oil.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we have a strong understanding of the volatility in the market? And we've seen all of these lines, yet we decide to say we are turning a blind eye and focusing on our budget based on these benchmarks. What sort of assessment should the House be doing at this point? Because if it's supposed to also be committed to the Appropriation Committee of for proper scrutiny, where lies the scrutiny if we are not having these conversations in the right direction?
Remember what I told you earlier. You are talking of your growth, and we are focusing growth on the wrong side. Now,
but
I keep saying for the OPEC,
it with oil,
only oil, and you are saying at $60 per barrel. And I was telling when we had a session on the coming budget where most of us were contributing, we said, look, if you set it at $40 per barrel, because in budgeting, you should be thinking of, if you are going on a road now and there's a block, you must find a way, isn't it? So that's what you strategize to say, if it goes up by 5%, this is where I will be. If it goes below by 5%, this is where I will be. You try to do all that, nobody does it here. Now, all we needed to do was to put it at 40. If the money comes 60, 80, we are better off because you will have planned with exactly what you have. Got your cloth according to your
size.
Is it size or?
Cut your coat according to your cloth.
That's right.
Yes.
So this is the thing we are saying because nobody is looking at what you are even questioning me now because they do not consider that.
Mr. Unegbu, we would also like to have your thought on this potential off-budget funds as well, usually undermine government's plan to progressively address deficits, especially when it comes to borrowings within the medium term. How do we also get things right with this?
Your governors, for instance, look at what they are doing, right? Your governors are very illiterate of the economy. And when they get people who can do this job, I told you, those with ideas are never there. You have those without ideas being there. And when you talk of the medium, long-term strategic plans, they also forget about the tactical plans. In other words, what we can do while something is going on. You asked me about the budget. Remember, what do you do from the time the budget starts maturing before you get the funding? Nobody talks about that. That's a tactical plan of economy that works every day. And secondly, you have the governors who will tell you, look at what is happening in some of the states. You cry, even in Lagos State. Lagos State is the biggest, but they are doing better than the rest. And then you have the plan you just mentioned, and they want the money out. What do they do with the money? If all of them are investigated, they will not be killed, because the money given to them from the party, refunds, and all that, where did they use it for?
You just, picked the question on my mind. Yes, as much as possible, we want to make sure that where these monies are said to be going, they actually go there. But who settled with the oversight functions to look into these accounts? I mean, we have RFMAC. I think we have the Ministry of Finance should have a department where, but do they really do these things? Because most times, by the time this budget is implemented, we're already getting ready for a new year. What happens to the leftovers or the things that have not been properly initiated or money's put into? Nobody asks those questions, and then before another year begins, we're pushing for a new budget. So there's no checks, there's no balance.
You talked of the oversight, right?
Yes.
Who is supposed to be the oversight? The assemblies. National Assembly, state assemblies. Are they doing it? You had the problem, do you know that when our people leave this ashore, they are picked up worldwide? Because they can't do well. The one that was sacked, who resigned, Kemi Adeosun, getting a top job outside this country. The one that was in the SEC, Aromaute, getting a job outside this country, because the oversight was not good enough.